Welcome to Open Tabs, where we cover three stories taking up space in our tabs, our feeds, and our brains. I'm Emma Marshall and joined as always by Melissa Blum and Megan Collins. Hi, guys. Happy
Hello.
Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
Oh my gosh, what day?
Okay, so we're all busy gals. So we're just going to jump straight into the stories. This is just like a little cap I wanted to put on our Love Island story that we covered earlier this week about TLDR. Listen to our full episode, go back. But TLDR, Love Island contestants' feeds are dormant this year. First time they're doing that to like curb the social media drama that can often steal the spotlight from the actual show. And what I wanted to shout out is how creators are stepping in to fill that like social media void. And content creator Wildlin, he uses his like spam account to cover Love Island. He is an actor. I think he's also currently like studying for the bar, but he is putting out 30-minute to an hour recaps on TikTok, a single TikTok 1 hour long, covering every episode of Love Island. And he's been creating content for a few years, but he started doing this last year and like has grown his spam TikTok account to almost 800,000 followers. And I see videos on my feed when like, cause he lives in actual life. If he hasn't put out his recap immediately, like people are thirsting for it. And it's very interesting. It's also, he goes very in depth. So if you don't feel like watching the actual episodes, but you want to like stay up to date for like the cultural relevance of it all, I highly recommend. It's very funny. Um,
I'm curious, what does he talk about? Like what is the draw of this content?
he takes you beat by beat through basically everything that happens in each 1 hour episode. And he's very funny. Like it's him reacting and like giving funny commentary to what's happening in the villa. Because a lot of it is like very funny. Because they're a bunch of like, they're all like the newest Bombshells 21. Like they're all so young and the conversations they're having because they have no stimuli are hilarious. Um and yeah, he's very funny. I recommend.
I think
Um
we've talked about this before, but you guys know Gogglebox in the UK,
yeah,
how they have that show. I feel like that it's giving that, where like people want to watch people watch TV and add some spice and commentary on top of it.
it totally is one of my favorite shows because I've been watching Bravo since I was probably too
Are you
young.
gonna say The People's Couch?
Yes, I love that show.
I know whatever happened to it. I was thinking the same thing. Like I loved that show too. I feel like it's so fun.
It was so fun. It was genius. Basically, Bravo hired, it was a mix of like comedians and regular, like actual families with like children, and they would all watch Bravo shows and they would react to what was happening. And it was so much fun. I think it only lasted 2 seasons. They should bring it back. But yeah,
Well, I mean, the not having, not letting the people on Love Island have their accounts is like there's a void to be filled. And like clearly it's like so crazy that, I'm not surprised. And, clearly it's working and people want to talk about it. And so it's the forum. I think what just is interesting is that like, um, sort of like, oh my gosh, Megan, I feel like there's a cultural curve in here. It's like the evolution of a reality star and like what the value is and like the impetus of like doing that looks like and like what does it give you? Like what is the incentive? And I think that there's like a curve of sorts where it's like it was maybe originally like to expose your business or to maybe it was more like just to become famous. And then like right now it's like in the business phase where it's like you can, whatever. And then I think like the downside of the front part of the curve is like build your own social media following. And then I don't know what is like the emergent on the horizon, but I don't know. I feel like it's like to convince people to do that and like how the content comes across and like the why. It's like everything is being shaped and changed like every year, every season, you know?
Yeah. I also think it's interesting because Love Island tries to capture some of this. Like last time Emma talked about how like Teffy is like the Love Island correspondent. And so like theoretically, it's interesting that they took Teffy off of TikTok and put her on the show. And now someone who is doing kind of like what Teffy would be
Yeah.
doing on the internet is now doing that. And like I have not seen Teffy at all. So it's like very interesting how they kind of like the legitimization of a creator also then takes away some of their appeal to the audience because it feels like you're in the pocket of the brand and you're like along with the brand narrative. Whereas
Mhm.
Wilden's POV feels more like us, the people's couch,
Yeah.
and this is what we're thinking and what we're reacting to. Um, Another thing that when you said, Melissa, like what's the goal of a reality star, something that I've seen anecdotally in the comment section of TikToks is that people say that the contestants are trying to farm reaction gifts. Like they really want to be reactions and they want to be pulled. And so it's very interesting that like the goal is just to like become a meme. Like is not, and
Maybe
again,
that's
anecdotal.
maybe that's the emergent
Yeah.
to
I
become
was
a meme, to become of like become part of like internet culture.
Well, because
I was
last year Huda was always giving people memes and sound bites, and so now they're like everyone's trying to be the Huda of this season, where it's like I said that thing. Yeah,
yeah, I was thinking about this like we were talking about like the cash prize last year and I was like thinking about last year's season and the incentive, like, is there even an incentive to like remain in a couple to make it to the end? I was thinking ultimately, yes, because of the branding opportunities that can come up from being a couple, like that made it to the final. I think of like Nicole Andrea from last year, and they have
I think they're broken up.
I I'll be real, like, don't come for me, Nickelandrian fans, but, like, I'm not sure if I feel like it might have been PR for, like, a very long time because there is so there's so many opportunities from them being a couple, and you never hear about the winner, like, of last season, but you still hear about them. I think they, like Anastasia Beverly Hills just did, like, a sponsored birthday trip for her last week and like that is what the like that they are the actual winners of Love Island last year, not the ones that took away the 50 grand
Can
prize.
I actually just also just make a quick comment on PR couples, by the way?
Mm.
I think that we as a society have gotten more comfortable and accepting of that. And like we're okay with it now. Whereas like I feel like the negative connotation of it, like it was a bad thing. And now I feel like people are just like, oh, that's just like it's just like another like label. Like and it, you
well,
know, you know.
as Jane Austen says, marriage is always an economic proposition anyway. So I think people are kind of like, yeah, this is part of what being in a couple is like the social value that you derive from being a unit versus being a single person. And I think like it just makes sense. And
I
I
mean
also think that
it's like
people,
a version of like arranged
yeah,
marriage. You know what I mean? Go ahead. Sorry.
totally. People have come to understand too that like a PR couple doesn't mean that they hate each other and like don't speak and that everything's contractual. It just means that two people have linked up and decided like that their goal is fame, not a long-term relationship. And they'll like do whatever until it doesn't work out anymore. And then that's a successful relationship if they both got more famous to these people.
And
Totally.
I think like with Nicolandria, because they're such a good example of this, Nicolandria, people are not like there are some who are very parasocial and will get very defensive when people bring up like a potential PR relationship happening. But for the most part, I feel like the sentiment is like, yeah, get your bag. Like we love Alandria because it's she's really the star and he's like the accessory in this situation. They're like, I love her. If she's getting brand deals for this, like good for her.
I
Like whatever you have to do.
100%. I also think that like that idea too of like again cultural acceptance of it and like being okay with it is like you know no one is having a good time on the apps either, right? Like, it's hard out there for everyone. So, if there is a force that is bringing you together, like, I think we can all say, Taylor and Travis, PR couple, you know what I mean? Timothy and Kylie, so I think it's kind of like find love however you can. And if it works from a business and branding standpoint, all the, all the better. Again, always going back to my favorite takeaway from Megan, like we're all comfortable with a certain amount of addiction and, arranged marriages. Capitalism
Yeah.
reigns supreme.
And it's like social media audiences, I think, are like so advanced now that they're in on the capitalism game of it all, and they're willing
Totally.
to like help the creators that they support get there. Okay, so Melissa, you bringing up cultural curve is actually a good segue into our second topic, which is about why everyone is so obsessed with Loonen water right now. If you don't know, Loonen is a glass bottle water brand. It kind of came out of nowhere. It has like, chic glass packaging, and they must be doing like a very intense influencer campaign, because I feel like I can't go more than like a few scrolls on Instagram and TikTok in particular without seeing an influencer talk about it. It's like the beverage equivalent to the dot cake hype that we're seeing right now.
Have you guys tried it?
No, I haven't. I've watched like several taste tests, and like I think people are like, I mean, it's like pretty good for water, but like
I've had it.
water.
I've had it.
Really?
Yep.
What did
I
you
had
think?
it in Marin. I bought it because of Tinks. I
Mhm.
saw she was raving about it being so delicious. I didn't think it to be
That makes sense.
remarkable. I know. I love Tinks. I
It's
do.
also just funny. We're like, oh, this water, guys. This is the best water. Like, it's water. But I get it. I have water preferences too, but it's just really
Same.
funny.
I mean, you know what I would honestly, what this makes me think too, and this is reminds me a little bit of my fireside chat that I did a couple months ago with Juliana Crozier from Thrive Market. I think Thrive Market did this, like 6 years ago, even. Like they just really like their marketing budget was influencer heavy compared to other brands at the time. And I think that they really cemented themselves in culture, like in among a certain generation for sure. Like I think Thrive being a delivery like of organic, pantry staple groceries, especially like during COVID and all that, and really having creators storytell around the products and having a really like keen sense of like the products that were sort of cutting edge and like also weren't in Target and Costco yet, um, was really like ahead of the curve. And what makes me think of this with like Loonen water, like I just want to know like their marketing strategy. And I'm like, how do you sort of reconcile the spend? How do you approach it? How do you think about creator strategy, like from a paid perspective? Like how do you elevate them? How do you sunset them? How do you bring more into your like arsenal of creators? Um, and then I just like, I'm also curious about other companies doing this and like why. And like, because there must be like a strategic bottom line to it. And obviously we're talking about it. I just think it's just like not as common, I don't think, but like yet, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Megan, I'm curious about your take, because you just Cool Shiny released their beverage
Oh,
cultural
yes.
curve earlier this year of like, where do you see Loonen on the curve? And like, what are your thoughts on like the beverages, water becoming like a trend on social media?
Yeah, one of the things that we discussed in the curve is that all of the accoutrements of like day to day are now becoming part of like building your brand and your personal identity because of the type of content that you can post about it. So whether that's like flat lays or trinket stacks or what's in my bag, or even if you're just holding a drink in your OOTD, like all of this signals kind of what type of niche you belong to and what your values are. And so looking at the Loonen branding, it's very values forward. It's like pure, clean, no forever chemicals, plastic free. And so I think it's more about communicating your values with what you're drinking versus like, it's good that the water tastes good. But I think that that's more what people are drawn to this for than they are the actual like benefits of this water. And I also think we're seeing like, I don't know, Diet Coke is very like core to me and like people see me as like a Diet Coke person. And I think as people are moving away from drinking like carbonated, caffeinated beverages, they still want to align with some sort of beverage that can like, this is who I am. So a brand like Loonen is doing that but with water. And we've seen this, I've seen this with Saratoga. I feel like they've kind of in the male space been more like we're aligned with like higher brow, cool, and like a little bit more of a aspirational lifestyle. But it's always been around. It was just aligned with the right influencers and people to grab people's attention. So I think that they really took that playbook and then applied it to the more like wellness, girly pop side of the internet.
I love it.
I remember when I was in high school, the like water to have was Fiji because colorful water bottle with like the flowers on it and plants. Like if you saw that, it was like a thing to like have that sitting on your desk when
For
I
us, it was smart water
Oh, yeah.
or vitamin water.
vitamin water was also big.
Mine was definitely smart water. I also feel like it was like the size of the smart water bottle. It felt very like it's like more water for whatever reason, like more hydration. You know what I always thought was so interesting about like the water industry, like the for water within the beverage industry too. It's like the the bad name that Dasani has always
Oh, yeah.
like who had like the anti-marketing campaign that was like Dasani's toilet water.
It's
Yeah,
bad.
it's bad. It has bad mouthfeel too. It's
Yes,
like,
it does.
Filmy.
yeah, like
Yes.
there's
It's owned by
I will say
Coca-Cola,
they,
isn't it?
yeah, they've worked on it and it's gotten a little less minerally, but it's still not great. My mom likes Dasani and I always give her crap for it because I'm like, she'll leave it here. And I'm like, take this with you. Nobody wants it.
For Dasani. Oh my god.
I literally will give it to my dog.
Redemption for Dasani.
It's interesting though. I've never cared much for like bottled waters. I do care a lot about coconut water though, and Harmless Harvest is what I, as a coconut water connoisseur, is the best in my opinion.
Breadcrumbing us
Hear about
again.
Did you hear about Tom Brady's coconut water?
No, of course he's releasing a coconut water.
I'm sorry I have to be the one to tell you guys this, but Tom Brady released a coconut water called Good Nut. I know. That's exactly the face I made of. I was like, yuck.
I'm not going to taste this that one. Out of
Yeah.
principle, I feel like he doesn't have a good track record. He did his like PB, what like his meal plan.
TB12.
TB12. That was insane. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. I feel like in New York, among like young Gen Z millennials, young millennials in New York, the water to have is Topo Chico. That's the one I'll see people with like at the park, like out and about. That's like the glass bottled water of choice. I feel like for young people in New York right now. But maybe Loonen is making its way through the New York City influencers. So maybe it will change tide.
One thing I will say about it is that it's just like very heavy also for like
The
a
bottle itself.
very heavy, like which I find to be it's like I feel like I can deal with that when it's like a reusable water bottle, but when
Mm.
it's like a water bottle that I'm like on the go with, it's like a heavy
Well,
commitment.
it
You know?
doesn't seem like it's meant to be on the go. I get the sense it's meant to be like on a table and it's meant to be presented more like a wine than it is
That's
casual, actual thirst quenching, you know?
This reminds me, I know I'm always bringing Bravo up, but on the last season of Vanderpump Rules, they did a water tasting. They had like a water sommelier come. And
that's a thing, like water programs, like, yeah, it's a whole thing. And that's what people say, like futurists talk about like water and how there's going to be water wars. And so water is very important to like how we're thinking about humanity. Oh, we
Uh-oh, did
lost
you just
Emma.
lose Emma? How do we know what to talk about?
I don't know. I'm at a loss.
I will say though, I think I'm curious for you and Emma if you're out in the world and you are feeling
Yeah.
thirsty and you come across a Loonen. I would love to like chat with you guys on it.
Yeah,
I
I'll
believe
definitely try
the
it.
one that I had was also sparkling, which I was sort of surprised about too. I think I thought it was going to just be still. Teddy, can you say hi? Hey.
Hello.
We're in our summer schedule right now, um so the kids are a little bit everywhere. Oh, I am.
yay, it kicked me off. I don't know what.
Oh no. Well, we were just saying we were like we don't know what to talk about.
Okay. Well, this is a good moment then to transition into our last topic of the day. And we're going to talk about it live now. But for replaying tomorrow, this will be behind